Dear brothers and sisters, this is a homily for 5th Sunday of Lent, year C 2022. On this Sunday Mass homily today, Jesus teaches us how and why to eliminate sin from a sinner rather than eliminating a sinful person as proposed by the Pharisees and the scribes through the law of Moses. From this gospel passage, we see the attitude of Jesus towards the adulterous woman different. Does Christ condemn or condone sin as exemplified by this adulterous woman? What motivates the attitude of Jesus towards this sinful woman? What are the three messages that Christ teaches us through this story of the adulterous woman? On this 5th Sunday, we read the Gospel passage from St. John chapter 8, verse 1 to 11. In addition to that, this story about the adulterous woman is only found in this Gospel passage. In fact, the scene takes place in the temple. Why was Jesus in the temple? The text tells us that he went there to teach. In the course of his teaching, there is an event that takes place, which is the Pharisees and the scribes bring in an adulterous woman. Why? So as to set a trap for Jesus and accuse him. Indeed, they knew very well what the law of Moses said about it, and they were capable of stoning the woman. In other words, they preferred to eliminate sin together with the sinner. However, coming to Jesus, the story changes. How? Jesus rather challenges, provokes, and makes them to examine their conscience so as to have a better outlook towards the sinners in the society. Moreover, there are three messages that Christ teaches us through this story, namely, eliminate sin from a sinner, 2, bend down and look up gesture, and finally, the attitude of Jesus. Let us start with to eliminate sin from a sinner. The law of Moses allowed a person who committed adultery to be stoned to death. In other words, in order to eliminate sin, you eliminate the sinful person. This was the orientation of the Pharisees and scribes at that time. The adulterous woman brought to Jesus in the temple was to set a trap to Jesus, because if he decided the case in favor of the woman and releases her, he would be accused of violating Mosaic law. And on the contrary, if he ordered the woman to be stoned, he would be in trouble with the Romans, who, according to traditions, they had taken away the right of imposing death penalty. On his part, Jesus challenges them to examine their conscience and life in general so as not to condemn and judge others, because every human person is a sinner. Does Jesus condemn or condone sin in this case? No. Jesus does not condemn this woman because, 1, he does not want to criticize the law of Moses, but give a spirit interpretation part of it. 2, it is not within his mission because he came to reconcile us with his Father, hence offering us forgiveness. In fact, they left one by one after being invited to throw stones at the woman, hence changing their mind. The second message from this story is bend down, look up gesture. These phrases are repeated in this passage several times, hence showing some emphasis, more particularly in the context of the Passion. After having told Jesus the accusation of the adulterous woman, he bent down and wrote with his finger. Here, it is the only passage we find Jesus writing. But in a more spiritual way, he was probably writing a new law, the law of mercy and love. When he bent down to write without saying anything, this can be interpreted also as a meditation or contemplation moment for Jesus and for the people to examine their conscience. When Jesus looked up, he proclaimed the law of mercy. Bend down, look up gesture in the context of his passion would mean Jesus is coming down, incarnation, so as to uplift sinful man through his resurrection, as captured by the phrase, he looked up and said. The last message would be the attitude of Jesus. Commenting on this passage, our Holy Father St. Augustine talks of two remained, that is, after having left one by one, the adulterous woman and Jesus find themselves face to face. Does it mean that even Jesus' disciples left? Frankly speaking, I'd have no idea. Anyhow, the two left, as St. Augustine puts it, misera et misericordia, meaning the misery and the mercy. On the same note, Pope Francis wrote an encyclical in 2016 which captures the reality of our misery that meets the mercy of God for one to live a saintly life. What motivated the attitude of Jesus towards this adulterous woman? 1. He saw in her the possibility to change. Indeed, man has a bundle of possibilities, including conversion. Remember the story of the fig tree that had not given fruits, and it was given one more chance. The second reason would be that it was not the right time to judge, because there will be judgment at the end of time. This reminds us the parable of the wheat and the weed, because it is at the harvesting time that they will be separated. To conclude, on this Sunday, we are invited, like a woman in this text, to go away, to avoid sin, and show everybody that besides the law, there is also mercy and love of God. A saint is a forgiven sinner. Amen. Have a blessed Sunday.